Good morning, health coaching class. Happy Saturday, I think it is. I'm still trying to get used to these weeks, starting on Thursday, ending on Wednesday. I wanted to let you know I added some additional content to our course. There were several requests for an overall course schedule, so I'm kind of excited about it. I hope it works out. In the week by week, you'll see a link now, and I've also provided it for you in this email. There's a photo I took, a screenshot of the chart that I've created for you, pardon me, that works within Excel. And then also a link so you could download that Excel document if you would like. It's color coded as a little shout out to Pride Month, but also has little check boxes where you can identify when you've completed each task. And then I gave you a column that should work that you could also put the points in there if you wanted to. I have the points totaled on the side, but then the actual points you earn if you wanted to keep track there. It's also in your My Grades on Learn, just as another side note. Oh, my neighbor's mowing their grass. That's lovely. Um, I wanted to talk more specifically about the content for this week, though, because it includes some assessment of implicit bias. And it's something that I know makes folks in general a little bit uncomfortable. We often like to believe, and that we is kind of difficult for me, but I'll just, like me and my friends often like to believe that we are above racism or prejudice based on gender identity or socioeconomic status or country of origin or state of origin, even sometimes. We think, well, we're from Ohio, those people from California or those people from Alabama. It becomes kind of interesting to categorize us as that whole state identity. I think it's really important in health coaching that we take a view of ourselves in terms of what our prejudices are, what our implicit biases. And I've given you two PBS related videos because I think they're kind of politically neutral, because I recognize that there are some political differentiations in this context. But in my field, in health education and promotion, social justice is something that we have aimed for decades. It's something that we're constantly working on. With recent events, obviously, we are far more focused at the moment on social justice and equity, equality for people of color, specifically Black Americans. This work extends around that as well as outside of that in general. If we look at health disparities, eliminating health disparities was a Healthy People 2020 objective, as you may have noticed, which means for at least the last 10 years, our nation had as an objective to eliminate health disparities. And I'm sure you're aware that we have not come anywhere closer to that. The Affordable Care Act helped a little bit in terms of access to care. But when you look at stories like Serena Williams's pregnancy, or birth, I should say, experience, and a lot of the medical apartheid historical contexts that have taken place in the medical and health fields overall. Health education and promotion is not absent from participation in some of these negative prejudice, bias, racist, sexist, homophobic, so on and so forth contexts. When we're helping people, and I think it's kind of obvious, but I wanted to say it anyways, when we're talking to a person, when they present themselves to us as an attorney or a waitress or a fraternity member or an athlete or a mom or a serial killer, right? With whatever label we put on someone, our brain, to help our brain work as quick as possible, has a series of neurotransmission connections that have developed over time, right? We've been socially acculturated. Many of these isms are institutionalized. They're so embedded in our society and culture that we often it's easier to just not notice that they're there or ignore them or even have to look really hard to find them. Not all of these are on the surface in the way we see some of the things that we've been talking about in the last few weeks. Some of these are deeply entrenched, and some of them are things those of us in those communities experience as well. Those of us in the queer community experience homophobia as well. Those of us of color experience racial prejudice as well. It seems counterintuitive, but it's institutionalized, meaning we all learn it, whether or not we are a member. The difference is in what the outcomes of those occurrences might be for us. Okay, so when we're talking as health coaches, though, if someone presents to me as a unmarried teen mother, or they present to me as a gay HIV positive, and I'm using like really strong stereotypes to be purposeful, right? Somebody who is in recovery from addiction to alcohol or addiction to methamphetamine. We put these people in different categories. And one of the things we're working on in class, and we'll talk more about, is how our conversations with people in a helping role have the power to help affect change in the person's life. We can help them quit smoking. We can help them sometimes reconsider suicide. We can help them feel better about themselves, feel more empowered to communicate with their partners and their families. The work that we do is very powerful. And so it's important that we're also very careful. We are non-licensed professionals. So this is work that is controlled by a code of ethics and a discipline of competencies and responsibilities, but is also work that as humans and individuals we're doing with a lot of the people in our lives. We're giving them advice, we're helping them make better choices for them. And so in our work as health coaches, we need to have a boundary there where we attempt to help the other person figure out what it is that they need or they want or they are going to do without influencing that. And if we don't first see our own bias, our own blindness to the attributes that this person holds that might be affecting how they're going to make their choices, we might not only cross that line in terms of influencing, but also be influencing in a way that's really disempowering, on like the easy end of the spectrum, and really horrifically traumatic on the other end of the spectrum. So recognizing when we're talking to someone who they are and how they're presenting, and whether or not we might take issue with any parts of their presentation. And it doesn't really matter if our perceptions of them are real or not. The perceptions of them interfere with our ability to work with them. So it might be a good homework for ourselves as individual growth opportunities to think about how to work on that bias and eliminate that bias and help ourselves to better understand other people. In this work, however, it's also good to just stop taking into account the attributes of the person and just hear what they're saying they need and help them work through it in that regard. So that's kind of a lot, and I hope it made sense. Recognize that this work makes us all uncomfortable. When I do these, it's going to tell me, usually I think that I'm moderately, so like not hugely biased, but have a certain amount of bias. I mean, I am a white-ish. I'm mostly Hungarian, so I have a more oliver complexion, and I'll be darker by the end of the summer, hopefully. But I've lived in Ohio my entire life. I am originally from East Cleveland, so I definitely have some multicultural experience. I work in sexuality, so I definitely have an eye for diversity. I also work with student accessibility. I'm a first-generation college student, right? So those are all the labels I could slap on myself that then we also have to think of as like the filters through which I see the world. And which of those filters are helpful and which of those filters are obstructing my vision and that I need to work harder on identifying. So this is not an opportunity or an exercise intended to make you feel bad about yourself. Own your labels, at least in your own head. Unless we know what the problem is, we can't start working on it. But that's personal growth. But in terms of this professional identity that we're taking on in this course, in terms of the helper, we also have to, even if we can't remove it in our personal life and our professional interactions with folks, this is work that we absolutely must do. I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves. I hope you're having a good week. The weather has turned a little bit more towards the cool end, so I'm feeling kind of nice to have the windows open again and be breathing fresh air. All right, take care of yourselves. I'll talk to you again soon.